We've set the stage, an epic Viking adventure strewn across the rolling hills of England and amidst the rocky shores of Norway. Now it's time to meet the Vikings that will write this saga. Hello friends, it's Kodiak here and welcome to Legacy Gaming. This is the Road to Launch Part 2 for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Before we dive in, make sure you check out episode 1 of our Road to Launch series for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. In that video, we break down the world around our game, which will help you understand what we'll be talking about today in this video. In Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you'll play as Eivor, a confident Viking clan leader tasked with leading the Norse people to England to settle new lands. Although you can play as either a male or female Eivor, it's important to know that this character is a work of fiction, and there are no historical records that show of any Viking clan leader named Eivor. Interestingly enough, Eivor is a rather common female name given in Nordic countries, but the root of the word is largely unknown. One of the good things about a character not tied to any reality is that it gives the Ubisoft team the flexibility to make the main character what they want, whether it be rooted in reality or fantasy. Although a Viking clan leader when we start Valhalla, Eivor's upbringing wasn't exactly easy. We learn that both of Eivor's parents have died and that our hero was adopted by King Styrbjorn of Forburg. The king's son Sigurd is one of the most notable characters we'll meet in Valhalla, and the reason our hero Eivor acquires the Hidden Blade. Sigurd is tasked with raiding lands east of England, which leads him to Constantinople and the Hidden Ones, the ancient order of assassins established in Assassin's Creed Origins. Sigurd brings one of these Hidden Ones, an assassin named Basim, back to Norway where he explains the Templar threat to Eivor, thus setting up the Assassin's Creed story we've come to know and love with each of the games. Basim is instrumental in convincing the Norsemen to leave Norway and set sail for England. It's still unclear how often Basim appears in Valhalla, if he's a character present throughout the game or just a catalyst at the start of our adventures, but it's clear in the trailers and from the gameplay we've seen that the Hidden One's influence reaches Eivor. As we shift our focus to England, it's important to understand that the Viking raids of the 9th century were largely rooted in truth. On June 8, 793, Vikings attacked the Abbey of Lindisfarne, a small island on the northeast coast of England. This was not a peaceful time in this part of the world, and tension and bloodshed were all too common during the Viking Age. At the time, England was not a unified country, and there were many lesser lords that fought for control over small portions of land. If you've checked out any of the trailers, you've already been introduced to Alfred the Great, King of Wessex. This is one of the most historically significant characters in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and although he's portrayed as this evil antagonist, a deep dive into who he really was shows something quite different. Nonetheless, as Eivor and the Vikings expand into southern England, Alfred will be the one on the other side of the battlefield waiting to cut us down. It's true that Alfred the Great did repel a number of Viking invasions throughout history, but at the end of this bloody period, he also established Danelaw, a treaty finally creating some semblance of peace across England. I'm excited to see if this character that's been touted as an ultimate evil will follow his historical arc or if things will start to go off the rails in order to create a better game. Alfred may be a larger-than-life figure, but his control over England isn't that great. Wessex, the southernmost region of England, is powerful but relatively small, and with 3 other regions to explore, there is no telling the other historical figures we'll meet along the way. Like all Assassin's Creed games, story elements will happen in lengthy arcs. We'll be introduced to new characters, and events will happen in parallel as relationships progress. As we begin to set down roots on the eastern side of England, we'll meet Oswald of East Anglia, one of the first major alliance characters we'll work to sway. What's so interesting about Oswald is that he's a real historical figure, but there is no evidence to support his rule of East Anglia. In fact, the only record of Oswald is on coins from the 9th century. This lack of information allows the Ubisoft team to make Oswald what they want, and during one of the first major story arcs, we'll fight to free Oswald from Rued, a Viking leader entrenched in the region. Conflicts in England aren't just Viking versus Anglo-Saxon. It's a complex web of alliances and allegiances, and we'll have to work through them all to establish a permanent settlement. Rued is a perfect example of the more stereotypical Viking filled with malice and bloodthirst, and I think the Ubisoft team uses him to draw a line and show that the Viking experience was truly multi-layered. The story between Eivor, Oswald, and Rued is just one small fraction of a much larger game, but it does lay the foundation for our adventures moving forward. The blend of fictional and historical accurate characters is a trope we've seen in other Assassin's Creed games, and it looks to be the case once again. We also can't forget about the Assassins and Templars, known at this point in history as the Hidden Ones and the Order of the Ancients. This is one of the most closely kept secrets leading up to the launch of the game, but we know at this point that you can create a Hidden Ones bureau in your settlement, which will inevitably lead to you hunting down Templars. There's no telling how this volatile relationship will play out in the game. We know just as much as you do that where there are assassins, there are bound to be Templars. We hope you enjoyed our second Road to Launch video for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. In our next episode, we'll be covering the combat and stealth components of the game. Legacy Gaming plans on covering Assassin's Creed Valhalla top to bottom, so if you like our videos and want more great content in your feed, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, consider joining us on Discord. We have over 6,000 members spread across dozens of great games, so click that link below and join today. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.